Hello, Professor Clary. This is my draft for the mini lesson 2. It is titled Power of Propaganda, and here I go. So today I have an assignment that will be in a few parts. We have read Night by E. Weasel. We have watched The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, and we have talked about and looked over Mouse, the graphic novel by Art Spiegelman. I want you to take the time to take what you've learned from those three sources that we went over and analyze Nazi-era propaganda posters from an online archive that I have provided and that we are going to look over. I'm giving you an assignment sheet and a template. This template is your final assignment. It has 6 blank boxes. You are going to make a graphic like with Mouse by R. Spiegelman. You are going to display the effectiveness of propaganda and symbolism in graphic form. I'm not grading your art skills because I myself am not a good artist. I am grading simply neatness and the symbolism and dialogue that you chose to include in your template. For example, your dialogue can be coming from a stick figure, which obviously represents a person, but as long as that stick figure is neat and organized, I'm going to give full credit. Because again, this is not an art project. I'm simply wanting to see how you transferred that symbolism that we went over into your own graphic. And as long as you do that neatly, it doesn't matter what your art skills are like, I promise. So like I mentioned, we are going to, as a class, all go over and look at this online archive from Calvin University of Nazi-era propaganda posters. We're going to go over, and I want you guys to take notes of which ones catch your eyes. It doesn't have to be, you all can choose the same one, you all can choose different ones, just whichever one you think maybe back in the day would have caught your eye, back in that era. And I have provided on the assignment sheet I'm going to give you a space for you to write the name of your propaganda poster and then for you to list out the characteristics of what drew your eye to that poster in the first place. We're going to talk about how the setting of the time during, obviously, the Holocaust and World War II, just as a whole, even around the world, was influenced by certain aspects. We're going to analyze the art itself, not just like the wording on the poster and the language, but like the actual art and symbolism, for example, the swastika symbol. We're going to look at the graphic features and how effective they were, and why they were so effective, maybe in print form, not necessarily digital media like we would more likely see today, but in like posters hanging on a telephone pole, how they were so effective back then. Are there certain symbols that drew you to them initially? Is there a color scheme that was appealing? Like, for example, with me, yellow usually catches my eye. So they probably used a lot of bright colors and colors that just go well together. And they probably brought in, artists of the time to put those colors that go well together to catch the eye of all these people. So we're going to go over that. Do the portrayal of characters in these posters grab and capture your attention? So, is it a person with features that are like not normal? So it could be like a guy with super duper bushy eyebrows that caught your attention, or it could be a woman with like a really skinny neck that makes her look like a villain. It could be ways that people were just warped to make them look more interesting to catch the eye of the readers and onlookers. Do the slogans do more of an effective job at capturing your attention than the art or symbol too? Sometimes words are more powerful than art and symbols. There's lots of sayings that we can even think of today that whenever you think of someone, you think of maybe a slogan associated with them rather than like their logo or art that they've ever drawn or whatnot. And so, for example of this, on page 40 of Night by E. Weasel, there is the slogan, forgive if I pronounce it wrong, Arbeit macht frei, which was on display at Auschwitz, where the main character of the book was being held. This term means in English, work makes you free. Do you think that this term, which was used as a slogan at the time, could it have warped people's minds into thinking that they were doing what was okay? Just because someone says something is okay, deep down in your heart that it is not okay. you have a sense of right and wrong, and don't let slogans, don't let words, don't let art warp what you know in your heart is right or wrong. Language and symbolism has been warped in this way for years, and I want you guys to use your critical thinking skills to see, hey, is this art purposely drawn to maybe bring out something different in my mind? You know, why is it making me think this and not this? Why is it wanting me to look at this and not this? So that's what we're going to be looking at in this lesson. So after you choose what 3 posters caught your eye, and after you list your characteristics or symbols that caught your eye, you're going to use these characteristics, slogans, or symbols to include in the graphic that you are going to create. There must be a minimum of 3 symbols or slogans in your work that you got from your posters, and since you have that assignment sheet and you write down the name of the poster, I'll be going back and referring to make sure that you did draw the symbols from those specific posters. You're going to be making the same kind of graphic that we saw in Mouse. I provided the link to the online version of that as well. It's a graphic novel that we went over. It's not in color. It's like very crudely drawn. So like I said, I'm not judging your art skills. I'm just judging your subject matter. You're going to use a template that I gave you to plan out your 6 squares. So I want a few things included, and I wrote this down in the assignment sheet that you can go back and refer to, but I want you to include some color. It doesn't have to be completely in color, but maybe one of your symbols was a red flag, or one of your symbols was a blue circle. You know, if the color is important to that one symbol, you have to include that in your graphics. So, and I know that a lot of the symbols did have that color aspect, so that's why I am requiring color somewhat. And you can use map colors, markers, however you want to do it. There will be no vulgar language or racial slurs used in this classroom. This is a project that can be done tastefully. It can be done politely and correctly. There will be no name calling like behind my back. Nothing like that at all. There will be serious consequences if I hear any slurs of that nature. Okay, so like I said, we're going to refer to the assignment sheet that I gave you, as well as refer back to the links that I gave you for more in-depth instructions. Remember that you have the links for all the online poster archive, as well as Mouse to refer back to. So if you, let's say, you're like halfway through the assignment, or you're just still in your drafting stage and you just can't get any ideas, just go to Mouse. You know, look at that. Look at what he did. Look at where he placed the bubbles. Look at how the bubbles talk to each other. Did he go left or right? Did he go up and down? You know, you can be creative and just make it go whichever way that you want to go. And I encourage you to plan out your work on a draft piece of paper before attempting to draw on your final template. So on your draft piece of paper, it could be really rough. You can draw out the squares yourselves. You can decide where the stick figure looks best in the corner, or does it look best like in the middle of the square? Does the color go well with this color if you're doing more than one color? So this draft is just for you to plan out where you're going to be putting everything so you don't waste your final template. And I really encourage you to use a pencil to trace everything, and then once you have everything where you want it, then take just a ballpoint pen and just go over that pencil really neatly. And then if you erase your pencil marks, your work is going to be so clean and so crisp, and you know, who knows, maybe you'll get extra points. But let's see. Like I said, you'll be able to see what fits and makes sense. Remember that I want you to use color, so use this draft piece of paper to see what colors go well with each other. And like I said, I'm reiterating, you do not have to be the best artist, because I am not the best artist, but just because you're not good at art skills does not mean that you are allowed to be messy. And I want you to, for example, stay in the lines. Like, don't go outside of the square lines, because that's not going to count. In a graphic, you can't do that. So that is what the assignment is. We are just combining history with English, and we're seeing how language and how symbolism, which in Night we saw a lot of, in The Boy in the Striped Pajamas we watched a lot of, and in Mouse obviously we see a lot of, how they go together and can be so effective, how they make so much change, whether that be for the good or for the bad. So that is this assignment. You have, we're going to use the rest of this class period to go over the online archive, and you're going to choose which 3 posters that catch your eye today, and then for the next week, we are going to be working on our graphic. So that is the assignment for this week. Thank you, and don't forget I'm passing out the template and the assignment sheet right now. So